The call to Mossad was short. Dagan didn't plead. He informed, "The jet's heading east. I want an interception. If we don't act now, the trail goes cold. Forever." But Tel Aviv's options were limited. The jet was already cruising high above international airspace, slipping into a corridor few dared touch. He needed leverage. He needed power. And Washington wasn't going to help. He called Langley directly. The CIA station chief listened quietly, then gave a soft, diplomatic dagger. "We can't authorize that. Political fallout would be undesirable." Truth was, Washington wanted the scientist alive. Not for Israel, for themselves. They hoped to grab him in Beijing, using covert networks buried deep inside China's surveillance jungle. But Dagan knew, once the scientist touched Chinese soil, he'd vanish, swallowed into a ghost world where people died with their eyes open. Only one nation stood between that jet and the dragon's mouth: India. And India had no love for Beijing. He made the call. The line was encrypted, the conversation coded in urgency and silence. An Israeli national cyber warfare division, taken by Chinese intelligence from Cairo. "He's on that jet. You stop it now, or he's gone forever." No signatures, no headlines, just a whisper through the chain of command. An Indian nuclear submarine, cruising the Indian Ocean, received the coordinates. The jet had dipped low enough to fall into a narrow strike window. Seconds of exposure. It was enough. A single surface-to-air missile, launched from beneath the waves, streaked into the quiet sky and made contact. The jet disintegrated over dark water. No black box, no radar trace, no survivor. The world never knew. No journalists asked questions. No one claimed responsibility. It was an invisible war, and it ended with silence. But not for Dagan. He just crossed a line nations don't forgive. The CIA would remember. Beijing had lost face. Hamas and Hezbollah were still hunting him. Turkey hadn't forgotten Istanbul, and the Iranian Revolutionary Guards had already placed a bounty on his head. Josh Dagan wasn't just an operative anymore. He was a storm no government could contain. And the war wasn't over. It was just getting personal. The fog in Beijing was thicker than usual, gray, toxic, and watchful. It clung to the city like the paranoia clung to its people. Surveillance cameras turned like heads, faces scanned, signals traced. It was a city designed to keep secrets out, not to protect the ones already buried within. And yet Josh Dagan had come here to kill a man. He moved through the city like a ghost, passport forged in Istanbul, his Mandarin passable but silent. He said nothing, made no friends, took no risks. His target, General Wu Lian, commander of foreign cyber operations in the PLA, and the man behind the Cairo abduction of the Israeli scientist. Wu wasn't just powerful, he was untouchable, a national hero to the state and the invisible hand to everything rotten beneath it. Dagan had no support from Mossad on this one. After the jet incident, even Tel Aviv went silent. Unofficially, he was a liability, a problem to be watched, but not openly aided. He did his own surveillance, weeks of it. He followed Wu's armored car, traced his security detail, identified one window, a 2-hour break each Thursday night, when Wu disappeared into a narrow residential street in Haidian, unguarded, with only a driver left outside. The apartment belonged to a woman in her late 30s, Zhang Mei, a private art consultant and Wu's longtime mistress. She had no idea she was being used as bait in a game bigger than herself. Dagan watched from rooftops, through vents, from parked delivery trucks. He never entered the apartment. He never got close. But he watched. What he didn't see was that someone was watching him. China's Guanbu, their foreign intelligence arm, had picked up the scent. Dagan's presence in Beijing hadn't gone unnoticed. Not by them, and not by their partners abroad. Hezbollah, bitter from past Dagan operations, had sent men to aid in identifying him. Dagan's name was cursed in too many places now, but Chinese intelligence didn't act immediately. They waited. They needed to know, why was he here? Who was he hunting? They let him run, to expose his objective. And Dagan, methodical and surgical as ever, never noticed them closing the net. Thursday night, Rain tapped against the windows like static. The city smelled of fuel and dust. Dagan was in place, one rooftop away, eyes on the entrance. Wu's car pulled in, just like every other week. The general stepped out, umbrella in hand, his movements precise and arrogant. Dagan breathed out slowly. The moment was here. He descended the fire escape, moved across the alley, approached the doorway. No one in sight, no alarm. The timing was perfect, until it wasn't. A hand gripped his shoulder, a second twisted his arm. Another struck him across the face with electrified precision. He fought, but they weren't amateurs. 4 of them, coordinated, efficient. He was stunned, cuffed and masked before he hit the ground. When he awoke, the lights were dim. No windows, no clock, no sound. Just cement, a drain, and a steel door. No questions, no threats, just isolation. For days, maybe weeks, they didn't speak to him. They fed him, monitored his movements, filmed his silence. They weren't in a rush. Somewhere above ground, China celebrated the unveiling of a new AI defense system. Wu Lian smiled on national television. And no one, not Mossad, not CIA, not even his enemies, knew where Josh Dagan had gone. He had vanished, swallowed whole by the red dragon. But dragons, even the oldest ones, forget one rule. You don't lock away a predator, you just make him angrier.